we'll get started here. I'm coming to you from Vermont. My dad is in North Carolina, so he's in the Asheville area, Black Mountain, and Amanda's in New Mexico. Yes. So Amanda is our prayer and our pilot today. Amanda Snyder is in the spiritual counseling program. She's in the prayer practitioner program. And she is all in. She is also a member of the Power of Love staff. And I just a shout out to GJ2, who's on the staff. He's here. And we thank folks for coming in and doing this work on a Sunday. It's much appreciated. Very glad for your service. And we're going to start off with a prayer from Amanda.
So, thank you, Jennifer. Let's take a moment just to settle in. I am grateful and thankful for this holy instant. I am grateful for the support of the unseen. I call forth our higher Holy Spirit selves to lead and to guide this beautiful Sundays with Spirit. I bless all the fathers. I bless the message received today. I am willing to listen with the ears of God and see with the eyes of God. I open my heart to receive the message, to receive a divine message of love. I claim this healing now and share it with all because we are one, and so it is. Amen, amen, amen.
Amen. Amen, amen. All right, my dad's figuring out his speakers, it looks like there. And I'm just going to let him know he has time. And Amanda, you can also respond to his messages if he has any there. All right, so it is my joy to introduce Freddie Lara, who is our musical guest today. He also is a very dear friend of mine. We know each other very well and really love each other. We have been friends for quite a while. And Freddie is a very accomplished person on many levels. He is a native of Southern California. His New York and LA credits include the LA premiere of Tick Tick Boom, which got 3 Ovation nominations, including Best Musical. He played Michael. He also has done Children of the Night, an Oscar Wilde play, got an Ovation nomination for Best Musical. Dreamgirls, he's done Pippin, Miss Saigon, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and Broadway Bears #8. He's a consummate performer. His film and television credits include Star Trek, Ransom, Subway Stories, Law and Order SUV. He's proud to be the co-founder of the Sobar Productions Company and has starred with, as well as directed, such stars as Leslie Jordan, Bruce Villanich, Cirque du Soleil, Christian Slater, Gary Sinise, Mel Gibson, Sandy Patty, Julie Andrews, Denise Williams, Nia Peoples, Julie Garner, Yai Rodriguez, Wilson Cruz, Peter Page, and of course, Mickey Mouse. He has performed in over 38 countries, including Greece, New Zealand, Jordan, Tasmania, Indonesia, Israel, and Australia. And he's happy to have landed back in Los Angeles. Freddie's also currently teaching acting and voice at the Freddie Lara Acting Studios in Hollywood. And you also were the musical director of Project Service LA when I was the spiritual director. And that's how we became friends. And so that was, I don't know, 2009, 2010, something like
I
that.
think so, yeah, yeah. I don't remember now, really. Oh, all that stuff. I forgot all that stuff. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. And you know, in your bio, you don't have anything about your being a meditation teacher.
Oh,
And
yes, well, I'm going to graduate soon as a I'm doing my first practicum now this week. So next Saturday will be the last of 4 weeks in Silver Lake here in Los Angeles. Yes, what is mindfulness? That's the whole thing for the month here. And it coincides with, I know it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, everybody. It's also Juneteenth today. So a celebration for my African American brothers and sisters. And also it's Gay Pride Month. So there's a lot to celebrate this month. Yes, you can't see Faith. She's over here, but she's right there. But she's here with me today. Shall we do this song? Yeah, let's do a song.
yes.
I don't think I've sung since the last time I was here with you, Jennifer.
Well, I'm glad you're here to sing again.
Yes, yes. For Gay Pride. Hey, Jesus, can you hear me now? It's been a while since I came out. I was wondering, do you love me the same? See, I've loved them since I was young. I tried to be the greatest son. Now I'm wondering, could they love me the same? 'Cause I know that I could never change. I tried so hard, brought so much pain, and I just wanna be loved for who I am. I know that I could never change. I tried so hard, brought so much pain, and I just wanna be loved for who I am. I just wanna be loved for who I am. Hey, Jesus, can you hear me out? I just want love like everyone else. I was wondering, since you made me this way, you want me to fall in love, to know what it's like to love someone else in the most intimate way. 'Cause I know that I could never change. I tried so hard, brought so much pain, and I just wanna be loved for who I am. I know that I could never change. I tried so hard, brought so much pain. I just wanna be loved for who I am. I just wanna be loved for who I am. I just wanna be loved for who I am. Hey, Jesus, can you hear me out? I just wanna love like everyone else. I was wondering, could you love me the same?
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, Freddie. Thank you so much. And Faith, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wish I was there with you in LA. Be so nice.
We do too. Come
Yes,
visit.
I know. Well, I will. I will. Gonna be a little while before I get on a plane, but it's too far to drive from Vermont, but I'll be there. I'll be there. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. And thanks to everyone who put into the chat, where are you joining us from and what is your intention? What would you like to get out of today? So grateful that you're here. And you can still put something in the chat. Love to hear from you. And as last year on Father's Day, I brought my dad, and so we're gonna just have a chat. And I invite you, if you have any questions for my dad, then I invite you to put them in the chat. And we'll see. Just, who knows what questions you might have for my dad. So I'll start us off with a question. And we talked on the phone a little bit earlier today. I called my dad to wish him a happy Father's Day, and we had a nice chat about family and memories and dads and granddads and things. And so just people might not know much about you, Dad. Obviously, you had a long career and things like that. You're 85 years old now, living in outside of Asheville, North Carolina. But and my mom died in 2008, as many people know, and you remarried to a beautiful woman, Diane, who's there with you in North Carolina. But you and Mom, you were 22 when you had me, right? And here, let's get you unmuted. See if you can unmute yourself there. There we go. Yeah. My dad actually does a lot of things on Zoom. He's been very busy during the pandemic, doing all kinds of things on Zoom, which maybe we'll get to. But you married my mom, Gail, and 10 months later, you had me.
Right.
And you were 22 when you had me, right?
Yeah.
So that's a lot younger than a lot of people are having children these days. Like if you think of your grandsons, of course, Mikey's still in high school, but like imagine Ben with, what would he have, like an 8-year-old now? I mean, yeah, it's kind of, it's amazing to think of you having, being in school still and studying for your PhD and working and teaching and all these things with a little bitty baby. Not that many people do that these days. And so I was born in 1959.
Yeah.
And so when you look back as a father, maybe just to ask you to start with, because we have fathers here and fathers who will listen to this maybe for years to come. If you were going to give advice to a father, what advice would you give to a new dad?
Well, I don't know if it's advice, but Jennifer, you made me a father. And it was a gift that I didn't imagine what it would be like. Well, when Gail, and I guess we both went to the hospital and there was a fertility check. And we found out that we would be expecting a baby. I was instantly transformed. I just wasn't what I anticipated, but I just kind of like I opened another door. And this was something I welcomed, but again, I didn't anticipate it, didn't really think about it. So I guess you said what advice? It's a gift. It's a gift of life, and it opens up the possibility of nurture.
Mm.
Here you have Jennifer when she was born, she's totally dependent on parents and mothers. And yet we seem to be generally hardwired to not only assume that role, but to find it just totally delightful, because it's unlike any other experience. At least it was for me. And I still remember the day I was walking across the campus at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And I saw a friend of mine, and I said, "Hey, Bill, I'm going to have a baby." And he looked at me like, ah. But I realized that this is just the truth, that I was just very excited about this newfound experience.
Mm.
You think, maybe I should just be quiet.
No, go ahead.
Well, there's the expression, I think it was Robert Burns, I'm not sure, that the child is the father of a man. And what does that imply? That when you have a child, you unlock new opportunities, new experiences. By becoming a father, and learning what that is all about. And it's not to say that all of us are perfect mothers and fathers. That's not the standard by which to judge it. So some of us do, obviously. We're pretty much judgmental people, let us speak. No. It just did really open up new possibilities. I had new capacities, new feelings. It wasn't just responsibilities. The other thing is, when you're a parent the first time, if you have, this is your first child, that's the one you try out parenting on. For good and for not so good. And so it's a learning experience. Which one? One of the things about Jennifer as a child, I remember one time she had what you might call a little tantrum, wandered her own way. And I remember looking at her, she was 3 years old, and I said out loud, I would recall, she wasn't meant to be a child. I think growing up, like it is for a lot of people, and today you hear teenagers, it's just really a challenge being a teenager. So what was Jennifer meant to be? What you see now. Mm-hmm. Somehow I just knew that she had to grow up to find herself. And the constraints of being a child in an adult's world was not what she wanted things to be.
I never liked anybody telling me what to do.
Yes, well, none of us do, but you were very good at trying to communicate that. And guess what? When you're a child and you have a parent, the tendency says, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to celebrate your camp. We're not going to celebrate them. Because we, I have no idea really what to do. And that was true. There were a number of incidents where, as a father, I made choices that were not the best. Then there were other times I made other choices that were pretty good. Pretty darn good. This is not about childhood, but this is something I always remember. When Jennifer was about 13, she wanted to get a job at an amusement park in the town next door, Crescent Park. And so we drove over, and she was nervous. Jennifer was nervous about this. And I don't know where this came from, but I said to her, Jennifer, they'll be lucky to get you. You remember that, Jennifer?
I do. What I remember is sitting in the waiting room outside I guess, the business offices of the amusement park, Crescent Park, in what was the name of the town Crescent Park was in?
East Providence. East
Okay.
Providence.
Okay. So, yeah, and I had to fill out, huh?
In Rhode Island.
Yes. And it was seasonal work at the amusement park. Rhode Island, has a hard winter. And I had to fill out an application. And so you went into what I remember is you going into the office with me. I was 13, filling out the application. And I remember you saying to me that they'd be lucky to have me because I was smart and because I was honest. And capable, and those are qualities that everybody would like to have in their employees.
So what did that do to you?
There was a sense of recognition, like that made sense to me, and that I had a chance at getting this job. I think in hindsight, I probably had a really good chance at it because it wasn't the greatest job in the whole world. But I was just making change so people could play the games, the what was it called, skee ball, and yeah, yeah. I remember being on my feet all day in this, running back and forth in between the skee ball machines, giving however many tickets for a quarter, whatever that was, and then working in a booth where it's spinning a wheel, and people would, if they got their number came up, they would win, and so it wasn't really challenging work, but you had to be able to do math and do things like that, and so yeah, your esteem in me, your confidence in me went a long way. Some parents would say things like, don't screw this up, or, and of course, you never said anything like that to me in my life. No, I mean, you haven't. Some parents do. I mean, true difference. I don't know about your friends, but I have talked with many, 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 many people, many people who have been deeply scarred by their parents calling them stupid. Don't be such an idiot. And also telling them that children are to be seen and not heard. Shut up. And I never experienced anything like that from you or mom. Even though I'm sure there are times you probably felt like screaming at me, shut up.
Okay.
Just once or twice a day, but yeah.
Well, adolescence, you
Oh, don't go there, Dad. Oof.
know.
Yeah.
Well, Jennifer knows that I love her. It's unconditional. And sometimes there were conditions that I just sort of stepped aside and still maintained it. But it wasn't because of I'm a unique person. My mother practiced unconditional love. And I was a troublemaker.
Mm.
I was often get into trouble. But I always knew that she was on my side, and that once you see that possibility, you can learn how to practice it. And for me, it's been very fulfilling to see and to participate in Jennifer's course through life. To think that I have said in times past that Jennifer is constantly creating herself. And that stands out to me because I am not that kind. I'm a much more of a routine kind of person. I'm comfortable with things that are predictable. But Jennifer is always searching. You're a searcher. And also, but some people are constantly searching and never satisfied, never fulfilled. No, that's not true. But you're always open to searching.
That's so true, Dad. You know, it's interesting that you say that. I really feel like I found. I don't feel like I'm searching anymore. But I
Yes,
definitely was a searcher for a long time. But
yes.
I'm not searching anymore. I really found that spiritual connection and peace, and so I would say exploring that, but not searching for it anymore.
No, that's quite accurate. Your earlier identity was searching. And you're fortunate. You have found the life you were searching for.
Hmm.
And you know, a lot of the things that happen to us are not because of our very planful intention. I
Hmm.
suspect a lot of it is just being open to
Hmm.
what is presented to you. And sometimes it's a door, and you open the door, and there's a new life, new possibilities, new friends, new relationships, new work. That's not a view I had earlier in my life. One of the advantages of growing older is you develop more, I think, more openness. Now, that can't be true for everyone, so maybe I'll just say for myself. But I'm very pleased with how things are turning out. Not how they turned out, but how they're turning.
Hmm.
You can always have confidence that you are alive to the moment. Sense of the thing I regret today is that I'm looking at you from hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
The pandemic has really affected me. I have no illness, a lot of it, but I think I'm diminished by the lack of connection with you, the family, getting together, even with friends, going to the theater. And I can say, honestly, I haven't quite figured out how to break through that. I'm getting better. But so to come back to being a father, what's the advice? Just, I don't remember, just embrace it wholeheartedly. It has a lot of things that are unexpected, not planned. But it hopefully makes you a better person. And partly because of nurture, learning how to nurture, and being nurtured. But you know, children initially, at least initially, they kind of love their parents.
Yeah.
They really depend on them. Sometimes things change. I see here, did Mr. Hadley ever thought Jennifer would become a minister when she was a child? No. I never thought that Jennifer would.
When I was a kid.
She very much interested in the theater.
Yeah, yeah.
And pursued that.
What about when I was a little kid? If you were going to guess my profession, would you have had any thoughts about it?
Well, depends on what part you mean. I can remember when you were maybe in elementary school, maybe 5th or 6th grade, and you used to put on shows in the garage.
Well,
So
yeah.
I could see that maybe some kind of performance. Because not everybody is comfortable performing, but you not only were comfortable, you just really wanted to do it. And also another dimension that is just that you wanted to be a performer. You like to organize people to do those things.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say I never thought about which a career might be. And look how it unfolds. I guess through friends, you found out about agape, and it opened up a spiritual side of you, which I can honestly say I never nurtured directly. I had been a Unitarian as a kid. My parents were, but then as an adult, I wasn't near the Unitarian church, and I didn't really respond well to some of the belief systems that we found and practices. Now I'm back in the Unitarian. But no, I guess I should leave it.
Here, what Chris is raising her hand here. I'm going to unmute. Chris?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. Mr. Hadley, it's so nice to hear you talk about Jennifer. I just wanted to comment that certainly sounds like you and she have, I don't know, really a relationship where you can say pretty much whatever you would like to as far as your individual perception of one another. It's, I'm sure it's been a journey. It was the same way with my dad and I, where it took a while, but down the line, it was so nice to be able to be honest with one another. And I feel like I see that with you too. And my dad is gone now, but I don't know, it brings tears to my eyes. It's just so great that you're on with her, and I wish you a very happy Father's Day. And we love your daughter. She's wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, you're welcome.
Dad, Chris is part of our Masterful Living community.
Okay.
Yeah. And there is, Jen wrote in, how did I talk about or explain A Course in Miracles with my dad? I don't know how much we've talked about A Course in Miracles, have we?
Not in detail, no.
Mm-mm. But so just so people can get my chronology, in the 80s, in the mid 80s, right around the time of the harmonic convergence, for people who know what that is, in the mid to, that was like 87, I think, 87, 88. But around there, 86 maybe, I was living in Manhattan, and Mom had given me Shirley MacLaine's Out on a Limb book. She had read it. She really liked it. She thought I might like it because she had read some of the Edgar Cayce material and Ruth Montgomery material, which I had found on the shelves and read. And that at that time, I became interested in spirituality, and I started going to Unity services at Lincoln Center in Manhattan. So maybe around 86, 85, 86. And then I moved to LA in 2000. I guess I got there January 2000, no, 94, 94. So I had already been way into spirituality by then, by the time I moved to LA. But I was house sitting for a friend's mom, and her secretary would come to the house 3 or 4 days a week, and he went to Agape. And I told him I was having trouble finding a spiritual community in LA that I liked. He said, "You come with me." And that was my introduction to Agape, which really was life-changing. At the time, I was waiting to hear if I would get into film school, into the graduating screenwriting program at UCLA or USC. And at that time, the one at USC was really considered like the best in the world, led by Frank Danielle. And so I got accepted, and I went. Frank was my thesis professor. And but then once I finished my master's in screenwriting, I had an undergraduate degree in theater from Emerson College in Boston. When I finished my screenwriting master's, I was all set to have a career in screenwriting, certainly a script development, and to be very successful. I mean, everything pointed the way towards me really being super successful as far as I was concerned. And I'd written a bunch of scripts, and the agents were telling me that you're a great writer, can definitely sell these scripts. I just need you to write a big story, not about just a few people, but a really big story like Titanic or Armageddon, something huge. Like that's what everybody's looking for right now. And I remember saying to one of these agents, you know that Driving Miss Daisy just made $100 million, and there's no sex in that movie. It's just two old people. And yet it's did this huge number at the box office, because that was a huge number then. And he was like, yeah, I know, but that's not what people are looking for. They're looking for these big, big stories. And I said, Titanic is a little story about two people. And by the way, I still haven't seen that movie. I don't know. I've never felt an interest to see it. There's a few movies that everybody loves that I've never seen. Another one is Grease. I've never seen Grease. I never felt like, oh yeah, let's watch Grease. Anyway, yeah, these some of these big blockbuster movies are really just about two people, and so back to the question you ask, um, Jen. I don't think I've ever really talked much about A Course in Miracles with
No,
Dad or with my family. And it's just because I it's not a topic of conversation, spirituality in our family. It's just
okay.
not. So yeah.
Um,
So yeah.
we just, Jennifer's mother and I, we looked around at various possibilities when we lived in Rhode Island. We just never found a home for our interest.
Yeah,
But,
you started going to church when you moved to Maine.
right, and for me, I guess I would say the major reason for me for going to this church we lived on the island, me, uh, was sociability. Well, sociability, and also an arena in which important ethical and spiritual issues can be addressed. Because you don't find it at the bank, you don't find it at work, you don't find it at the supermarket, you don't find it at a, you know, neighborhood party. But this is an institution, at least the institutionalized churches are a place where it seems legitimate to reflect on important moral values and questions. Whether they do it in a way that fully resonates with me, well, that's not the point. At least here's a place, and you might find some like-minded people, even though some churches can be fractious. But anyway, that's that. I do see another question, if I could respond to it. Where was your dad raised and where did he study for PhD? Well, my family, my father was actually born in Dirk Point, and he took a route that was nurtured by his family and became a vacuum cleaner salesman. Used to be door to door back in the 50s, like 40s, for Hoover Vacuum. They became very successful, but eventually they changed the company, and he was demoted, fortunately, and he moved to where my mother had been born in Bowling Green, Ohio, which is northwestern Ohio, 30 miles from Korea. And so we moved in 1950. And I often say, I don't know if you remember the TV program Leave It to Beaver. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay, Leave It to Beaver is an idealized, and also Father Knows Best, those kind of programs. An idealized version of an American family with a father and mother and two children, usually. Well, I guess maybe they're not, some of them weren't. But I grew up in Bowling Green, Ohio in the 1950s. And I'm going to be teaching a course on the culture war. And one of the things the argument is made is that the 1950s were a period of calm, economic growth, optimism. You know, the United States with some of the European countries, we defeated the Nazis, we defeated evil. We were successful. We're good people. So we thought. And so it was a very idealized kind of growing up. And for me, it was just terrific. Because I was accepted in the community, I had friends, I learned how to refine my comedic sense. I could make people laugh. And when you're in school and you're a guy, and you're not a football hero, you're a sports hero, you can make people laugh. You have friends, you might even have girlfriends. So I was very fortunate to grow up in that very optimistic, hopeful, pleasant. Then when I went to the University of Michigan, of course, I became aware that there's another world out there, which is one of the advantages of the college. It exposed not just the different people, but different ideas and all over the world. I had 3 roommates. One of them was a Jewish fellow from New York City. Well, I didn't know many Jews in Bowling Green. There were a couple. 2-star owner's son. Another was the son of a garbage man from New London, Connecticut, who was absolutely brilliant. He could write poems in Latin.
Who is that?
Don Bagaro was his name. Very unassuming, lovely person, but just totally different person than I was familiar with. Then I had another roommate whose mother was the dean of Sarah Lawrence College. You talk about a melting pot. And I was nominally a white Protestant Middle Westerner. That was kind of the box I lived in. I had gone after high school. I lived at home for a couple of years at the University of Toledo, and then I transferred to Michigan. And I got 3 degrees there. And Jennifer was born in 1959, and I guess I was starting my master's degree. And initially, we lived in a cottage on the lake because you couldn't find places in town. So we lived 20 miles outside. And we used to play every day. It was a very rich life, somewhat bimodal. I had my family, and then I had working on my degree.
What was your master's in?
Sociology.
And a question too about your PhD.
PhDs in social psychology. When I was at Michigan as an undergraduate, before I went there, I got a letter saying, would you like to participate in an experiment? That meant living in a house with 16 other guys. And they did research on it. A whole range of things. You filled out surveys, a lot of surveys. And they were interested. The guy who headed it up was very well known. So, he was interested in relationships and acquaintance patterns. And, it sounded interesting to me. I had some interest in science. And also, it was kind of expensive. You had to pay $60 a semester to live there. And we got to actually maintain the house. You know, we helped out with the meals and did the cleaning in the house. And that's what got me into cooperative, co-ops.
Right.
Yeah. And, that really, that sensibility of coming together to create an organization and being responsible for it, and not having some institution run things and you're the consumer. It's much more participatory ownership.
So
I
what
didn't know ahead of time, but that's what it was.
what year is that, Dad?
That would have been probably 1956.
Was it integrated? The 17 guys?
No,
No.
it wasn't. I had black friends, but no, I don't know why. I
Yeah.
don't know how that's selected.
Well, it was way before the civil rights movement, really.
Well, I had black friends mostly through jazz, like jazz. We used to go into Detroit. But I saw, you people know Miles Davis, the jazz musician?
Everybody knows Miles Davis, Dad, I think.
I saw Miles Davis play with his quintet in a room that probably had 40 people in it. And he didn't turn his back on the audience. That was the jazz that you could find in the 50s. To me, it was just incredible art, the improvisation. So as I said, I had another black friends that would go in and go to after hours clubs, stuff like that. I would never have it anyway. So I had a rich life and continue to have a rich life. It's not quite as stimulating. There's another little story, I don't know. Let's see.
I can read it for you if you like. Yeah.
What's that?
Well, the other question was, did you take me to church when I was growing up? But we went with your parents sometimes, with grandma and grandpa, and sometimes with I sometimes went with Frank, my other grandfather,
Right.
and with Muzz, and
When you were in the elementary grades, we did go to the Methodist church. And you would go to Sunday school, I guess, or something equivalent to that. But it just didn't take for, you and I, it didn't take for. I don't think you missed it. We stopped.
yeah, yeah. But you know what?
I grew up as a Unitarian as a kid. And of course, I knew nothing about it. My mother just picked the church because it was closest to where we lived. And I developed an appreciation for Jesus as a prophet, but a total human being. The whole concept of the Trinity and everything. I could tell stories.
I can read this next one from Frank. He says, I feel the same admiration as last year, and so interesting parallels of wise statements that could be roots and co-creations. I just remember from last year how especially inspired I was from the contrast between moving in a Black community, if I remember correctly, in the society at the time, and how that would create such a sense of power to do and feel the right thing despite standards and norms, and maybe even hostility. So last year we talked about living in Willow Run,
Yeah,
which was that War on Poverty housing project,
yeah.
where we were one of just a few white families in a what? How many families were in that whole project?
As I recall, it was like 190. It may be not quite right, and about 10 to 12 white families.
Hmm.
Um, but that was a unique time. Uh, it was around the civil rights movement and era, and we were really welcome to the community and became really a whole part of the community. I got involved in social, community organizing,
Yeah,
and
I have
I,
a
I could have easily dropped out of graduate school and pursued a political career. And
right.
I
Yeah,
did get involved in politics, but of course, then things started to fall apart in the middle 60s with the riots in Los Angeles and Detroit. And, it was kind of a honeymoon period when you really felt you could change the world because we did.
yeah.
I remember, Jennifer, that you and your mother, you and a stroller went to protest or demonstrate at Kresge's. Kresge's was in Detroit, and their home office was in Detroit.
They're a grocery store, right?
Pardon?
Grocery store? Was it a grocery store or like a Woolworths?
More like a Woolworth.
Yeah.
And it was a very powerful company throughout the country.
To integrate the Kresge, like the lunch counter or something?
No, it just was a parallel. They also practiced discrimination. There were also housing units in Ann Arbor that people would apply for an apartment, and somehow Black couples just, we don't have the room. And so your mother participated. No, she went with a guy, so this would be a couple, and they got accepted. And another similar, the Black couple didn't. So they accumulated all of these facts, and that development changed. So you have the sense you could do things and change things. Whereas now there's a kind of a malaise that you can't do anything. I mean, look at like on gun rights. Somehow we haven't figured out a way to overcome the institutional resistance.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty powerful when you go out and say, well, I'm going to be against discrimination. And you do a few things, and 6 months, 12 months later, they change. Wow.
Yeah.
Good things can happen. Just do things. Be nice, be nonviolent, be moral.
Let me ask you a question. So, I never felt in my life ever for 1 minute that my family members were racist. I never felt bigotry. Now, there may have been things I missed, but I was not aware of it. So, you got involved with like SDS, Students for a Democratic Society.
Yeah, I knew those guys.
Yeah. And Tom Hayden was there at the University of Michigan, and they were, all of that was exploding at the time you were there, you and Mom, because you met at the University of Michigan. And I think you should say "Go Blue" just once at least, right? But So how did, like, what turned the tide for you that you became interested in civil rights? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
What got me interested in civil rights? Um, well, I sometimes say that I became a sociologist in the first grade. The reason I say that is when I went to the first grade, I had never been in kindergarten. Well, you know, one of the things that schools do is they teach children how to conform to institutional authority and those routines. It's one of the major cultural messages that schools have. Not as visible, not I mean, a lot of people, but to me it was very visible. So I became very aware, and I went to a public school that was run by nuns. And I say that because that was the sensibility of the teachers. I was a Unitarian in a community that was pretty strongly dominated by the Catholic Church. And I always had, well, I had a view at one time that there would be a war between the Protestants and the Catholics, and the Jews and the Unitarians would be in the middle. I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of Lexington and Concord with the British on one side, and the Americans
The painting, yeah.
on the other side,
Mhm.
in Lexington and Concord. Well, I had that image in my head. So in a way, you ask, how did I get interested in it? I think fairly early in my life, and some of it was through the church, I think. I don't know how you describe it, but I just became sensitive to people who were, well, you say now discriminated, but people who were poor, isolated, marginalized, disparaged, excluded. That just got fed into my brain. And I felt not just, I felt a connection with it. Now you have to remember, growing up in the 60s, it was an era of sex, drug, and rock and roll, but not for me. For me, it was the whole civil rights thing. But it turned out that all the work in the civil rights area was mostly changing legal standards.
Mm.
Segregation was still practiced. Unfortunately, it still is. But that's what I think that's probably true for a lot of people, white and black, that this was, you know, this was a moral crusade.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was led by a spiritual man. And, no, it still affects me to this day. And I'm better for having participated. And when you are a minority in a majority black community, you have to become aware of that community and its strengths. And how people look out for each other and support each other. And that had an effect. I wanted to write a book called White Like Me. There was a book written called Black Like Me.
Yeah.
About a white guy who colored his face and arms and went around pretending to be a black man and then wrote about how he was treated. So I learned about whiteness. but it was all good. I mean, I just felt that I was learning something and developing an appreciation. So it wasn't a matter of me doing something good and saying, well, I'm going to sit down here and do something good. No, like that at all. It's just things happen. And like I've said before, you open the door and you say, oh, what's in here? And then you go that way. So I can't claim I had any special insight or gift. I was to some degree writing the freedom train. It's not my train. I'm just getting on. That's all. You see, one of the things that is an advantage of growing older, particularly for men, is you can now get emotional. A lot of guys, and I was that way too, spending time controlling myself. But now I don't have to do it. So when I go back and remember these experiences, it's so powerful. And the experiences with Jennifer and with brother Michael growing up, they're really embedded. And here we go. Other comments.
I think that's it, Dad. And so normally we do a breakout where people go and they talk in small groups. And actually, Amanda, do you have it set up? Because it's a small group, but why don't we just go into breakouts for maybe just like 8 minutes? You know how to set the time there? Yeah, and but before we do, we're going to have a song from Freddie and Faith, and uh, and then I'll give you some direction on the breakout, and then we'll. So, are you ready, Freddie?
I'm ready, Freddie.
Okay.
I do want to give a shout out to the moms who did both jobs. My mom was both mom and dad to me, so happy Father's Day to my mom and all the single moms. Grateful, grateful, grateful for those people and all the dads as well.
Yeah.
Grateful for those people who took care of us. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed. When I remember how I'm blessed, grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. In a city of strangers, I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, I know that they will stay until the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but standing here in the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, duly blessed and truly grateful. It's not that I don't want a lot, or hope for more, or dream of more, but giving thanks for what I've got makes me so much happier than keeping score in a world that can bring pain. I will still take each chance, for I believe that whatever the terrain, my feet can learn to dance. Whatever stone life may sling, we can moan or we can sing. Grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Truly blessed and duly grateful.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Freddie. I am grateful. We are blessed. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's an emotional day. It's Sundays with Spirit. And so we're going to jump into a breakout here. And usually I do a meditation leading us into the song and the breakout. But I'm just going to invite you to share in your breakout. How are you feeling? Just share how you're feeling today. That's all you need to do. So we'll have a short breakout. And Amanda's going to open the rooms. And in your breakout room, just give everybody a chance to share if they'd like to. Listen with love. We'll be right back. All right, I guess my dad will come back. And so, well, Faith, would you like to share something? And when Freddie comes back, he can share too. And there's my dad, but he's had a lot to say. So, Faith.
Oops.
Yeah, I think Freddie is muted.
There we go. I'm good now. You can hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Such a beautiful service. I really, I think the music has really moved me, and certainly your father and your dad said something that really stuck with me. He said, I have had such a full life and I still have a full life. And I thought that was really, really felt profound to me, that your dad has looked back as his life as being so full. I mean, that's what we all want to have, that we look back on our lives and say, we have the live this full, amazing life. And then he's still living it. And then I know that he's still very active in his life and doing all kinds of things. And it's just wonderful. I just love it. I want to congratulate you and having such a wonderful daughter. I know that it didn't happen by accident.
Yes, put a lot of work into it.
I'm remembering my father, as we all are, on this day.
Yeah.
So thank you for this reminder of that beautiful father-daughter connection.
Thank you, Faith. Amanda, would you like to share anything?
It is so nice to watch you and your dad communicate and just have an open conversation. My dad's no longer with us, and it's just happy to see you guys doing that.
Hey, Freddie, you want to share anything? What's going on with you? Let's get you. We just have to get you. There you go.
Can you hear me? Well, first of all, the first line that your dad said was, "You're the one who made me a father." And that just, I almost started crying, but I started thinking, because I spent so much of my life bemoaning the fact that I did not have a father. And it really played a number on me for many, many years. As you know, Jennifer, I was so unwell for a long time. But I have changed that paradigm, and I'm just so grateful for a mother that was able to do both jobs and was there for me. So your dad, Father's Day, reminded me that I am not in lack, I am in abundance. My mother was a wonderful mother, and she raised all four of us beautifully. So yes, thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah. Well, anybody can share any comment. We've still got about 5 minutes before we're done with the breakout. Dad, I have a question for you. Your father, my grandfather, Walter T. Hadley, where was he? Was he the oldest?
Yeah.
So that's why he had such a strong sense of responsibility, because he was the firstborn.
Yes. That's my understanding, that he had become the father like 10 years old.
Yeah.
He had to become that.
Yeah, he had to fill in his dad's shoes. Yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in a family with 5 children at that time and have the father leave
Well,
at a time when women didn't really have careers and jobs and they were so poor anyway. Yeah, can't imagine. Don't want to.
I did have one other thing to say about the question was raised. How did I get to be so drawn to civil rights? As I suggested, it's in the air. But I have to be I have to be truthful to say my parents were not. They didn't share the worldview line. And Jennifer's mother, Gail, her mother grew up in Mississippi. And so for our parents, they became tolerant of us, I guess that's what I would say. And they were aware that things were changing and that we were part of it. And we were young people. But no, those sensibilities, I can say for Yale, through her church, she volunteered to work in what we would call a settlement house in Detroit, which was predominantly exclusively Black. She did that very early on. And I think that affected her. And I think she also had a very welcome person in that context. She was one of the people that actually helped Head Start. They created it before it was called Head Start, but it was the model for how Head Start became. Where we lived in Willow Village, Lyndon Johnson, when he was elected president, he designated 2 communities for community development grants. One was in Texas, where he was from, the other was Willow Village. And what had happened is during World War II, a lot of blacks moved from the South to the North because, a lot of guys were over fighting the war, white guys. And next or near to this major airplane manufacturing plant at Willow Run, and I think they used to turn out like 1,000 planes a day. It was a huge manufacturing. We called it the arsenal of democracy. Well, those were not just words. It's true. Anyway, they built a community that by definition was integrated. It had schools that were integrated. It had public buildings that were integrated. It had politicians who were integrated. Because of the war. Had to be. And then after the war, that place all fell apart. So then when we moved, it was a rebirth of Willow Run. And it was a great place to be at that time. If you really wanted to get involved in the world that was changing. Because to some degree, we were really on a cutting edge. I'm serious about Head Start did not exist before this program started. And Jennifer's mother was one of the leaders in that. She helped develop curriculum, she was a teacher, she was on the board. It was a hell of a time.
Thank you, Dad. We've got folks coming back here from their breakout rooms, and we're going to just make a couple of quick announcements here and then have another song from Freddie and Faith. And so I'd just like to mention that my Finding Freedom from Fear spiritual boot camp registration is closing tomorrow. And so you can get all the details at jenniferhadley.com. I'm sure we'll put a link in the chat here if you're interested. And that is one of my major programs. And originally, my Finding Freedom program was called Family Freedom. And now it's called Finding Freedom from Fear Boot Camp, based on A Course in Miracles principles. And I would like to see if Freddie or Faith have any announcements that they'd like to make before you give us another song.
Yes, here I am. Well, we're starting a new session of my acting classes here in Hollywood, in West Hollywood. So if you are in this area, get my number from, I'll put it in the group chat actually before I leave. Also, I will be doing the donation only. The 4th week of my mindfulness meditation course this week is going to be happiness and spiritual principles. So it took me a long time to get happy, but I got here. So, and Jennifer knows.
I do know, yes. Yeah. All right. They're working on the tech there, and then
Yeah, and I would just we'll put that link. Can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me now? Yes. Yes, you can hear me. Okay. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Okay, great. I am, ooh, you did something. Shoot. We got two computers working here at once. But I was just going to say that I'm starting a new program for voice for speakers and leaders and messengers and entrepreneurs and anyone who wants to get their message out in the world, to get that confidence to be able to present yourself and speak from your full heart, out of that throaty feeling and getting stuck in here, and open up the throat chakra, open up your heart chakra, get into your body and be able to really get your message. So I'm going to put my Faith at the Artist first. You can get a hold of me there. Anyone who wants some information or wants to get on the call, we'll definitely do that and tell you all about it. And Freddie, what is yours?
When is my course is on Saturday.
Yeah, so his course is on
And then the
Saturday.
acting classes are on Tuesdays.
Yeah, and you can get all that
And
information.
I'll put my number in the group chat.
Okay, perfect.
Do you want to do another song?
I
Do
think
you
I
want to do
will.
another song, Jeff?
Are we ready? Okay, let me go ahead and
All right.
get me
By
out
the
of here.
way,
You mute, Freddie's muted. You said, by the way,
Yeah.
and then we lost you.
here I am.
Can you hear him?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. What was the by the way thing that you were sharing?
I was just saying that, by the way, you can't see Faith over there, but she's doing all sorts of things, playing guitar, putting on tracks. She's just getting over COVID and she looks amazing, and she's doing all this work over here. And I just want to send out some love.
Cheers.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this. We did this last time, this song, and it just got such a great response. So let's do it again. I hate to see you cry, lying there in that position. There's things you need to hear, so turn off your tears and listen. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. No, it won't all go the way it should, but I know the heart of life is good. You know it's nothing new. Bad news never has good timing. But then the circle of your friends will defend the silver lining. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. No, it won't all go the way it should, but I know the heart of life is good. That's faith. Pain throws your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. Fear is a friend who's misunderstood, but I know the heart of life is good. I know it's good. Thank you all for having me today.
Thank you for being here, Freddie. Thank you, Faith. Thank you both, sharing and shining your gifts. So appreciate you both as friends and contributors. And so Amanda's going to give us a prayer here. And just before she does, I just want to say thanks again, Dad, for being my dad. And I love you so much. I'm so grateful to be your daughter and to have you as my way shower and my teacher and my dad. And thank you for showing up here again this year. You're going to need to unmute. And yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thank you. And you as well. It's been fun. Look forward to next year.
Yes. Yes. Amanda, will you give us a prayer?
Would love to do that. Let's just take a moment. I am grateful and thankful to know that love turns life around. I am grateful for the blessing and the healing received today. I open my heart and accept. I open my heart and accept this love. I accept it on behalf of myself, my family, my community, and the whole world. I allow love in my life. I claim it now and share it with all. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Amanda. That was beautiful. Thank you for your service today. Thanks again, Dad. Love you. Happy Father's Day. Mwah.
Hey, Amanda, are you still there?
Yes.
Are
she's
you familiar with the song Farewell, Amanda?
No, but I'll Google it.
It was in a movie, I think made in the 30s in black and white. And I think it might have had Spencer Tracy in it. I'm not quite certain. And look it up, listen to it. It's kind of ironic, but in the movie itself, it's an important part. Jennifer, do you remember that? Farewell, Amanda?
I don't.
Yeah. Well, take a look. It's
All right. I love the Spencer Tracy movie, so there you go.
Thank you.
And I guess I remember because I think Amanda is such a pretty name.
Yes.
And I just stuck.
Ah.
And you're stuck with it. It's a pretty name.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love
All
you.
right, well, love you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Okay.